May profits be upon you. Welcome to another weekly market forecast. We're looking at the NASDAQ futures. The NASDAQ futures, yes. Let's take a look at the economic calendar first for the upcoming week. Come on. Thank you. We see that on Monday, we have no red folders. On Wednesday, we have no red folders. Other days, Tuesday, decent liquidity going in there. Thursday, pretty decent. You know, we got unemployment claims and GDP, preliminary stuff. And then Friday is the big day. Friday, core PCE. What is that? That is the preferred measure of inflation for the Fed. And this is what they look at and weigh against when they're talking about making cuts to the interest rate. When they make interest rate decisions, this is the first thing they consider. All right. And if the numbers come in higher than expected, higher than 0.3%, then we'll see the market, the US dollar gain in value. It'll move up. If it comes in lower than expected, then we'll see the US dollar go down. All right. Just bear in mind that we had the Fed Chair Jerome Powell talk on Friday, and he was talking. He's letting doves cry, right? He was talking dovishly about the interest rate, and that there seems to be a likelihood that they're going to cut the rate come the next FOMC. Now, let's move ahead. All right, look at this here. The NASDAQ making higher highs and higher lows. Right, we had a nice little dip there in April, and then we pushed past that and recovered, and then some all-time highs. Woo! All right, we're moving pretty good. Oh snap! Hold on. My mouse is doing its thing. Let me see if I fixed it. Sure did. Okay. Wow. All right. So just had to turn it on and off. Okay. So we are bullish, right? We hit all-time highs this month, August. We received a little bit, but there's still a week left for this week. For this monthly candle. All right. We also see that we have God dog it, man. What was that? We also see that we have made a bullish fair value gap here on the monthly, and it has not been returned to. All right. We didn't see the market pull back into it, find support for higher prices. We didn't do it. It just didn't need it, apparently, to hit another all-time high when it took out July's high. Well, which is cool. All right. But just understand when those fair value gaps, especially right after an external high like here, an external high is taken. This is the internal range liquidity. This is external range liquidity. In a uptrend, you make the high, you make the higher low, you make the higher high, you make the higher low, you make the higher high. This is external range liquidity. This is internal range liquidity. Internal because it comes back to a fair value gap. All right. Then we take out the external range liquidity going up. We pull back into what? The internal range liquidity, or another fair value gap. And then we push past what? The external range liquidity. That's how our uptrend works. We didn't hit that internal range here. Does it? It makes me think this will be drawing liquidity to it. Drawing the market to it. All right. This will be the draw on liquidity for an internal range liquidity touch before it goes higher for the external range again. Just a thought. Okay. Let's go to the weekly. On the weekly, what do we see here? Let me get rid of this monthly fair value gap. We understand that it's there and that it has not been touched yet. All right. On the weekly, what we can see is price came down during this week, the week of the 28th, right? And then we overcame it. But this bullish candle, a very strong bullish candle, is in inside bar. It did not take out the low of the previous candle, nor the high, all right? But it did open low and closed high, all right? It would indicate to me that there's a possibility that price will trade towards that high, which it did the very following week. Okay. Now this might have created a doji, right? An indecisive candle, but it cleared out the buy side liquidity. And then we started to come back inside. All right. And what did the market do? It came down into this this bullish bearish, the bearish bullish configuration, but it found support in this opposing candle here. All right, it did not close past the 50% of this candle. All right, and it respected it and pushed higher. All right, now it closed bearishly. All right, but what I'm looking at is how did it close in relation to the candle before it? All right, it closed back within the range of this candle, the low of this candle. All right, does it mean that we're going to do I expect it to trade towards this high? No, because it closed bearishly. I'm thinking that we may come down into test the midpoint of this long wick. All right, not the body, but the wick, because the wick is much longer. That's the one we're going to use. So I'm looking at the possibility that the market comes down to about the 50% and show respect before going up higher. Now, if it goes past that 50%, past the 786, really, if I see a close past the 50% towards that 786, I'm looking at these relative equal lows down here as the draw on price at that point to come back into this weekly fair value gap right here. I have it outlined in blue right under the relative equal lows. In relation to the S&P, it's weaker. Look how we got bullish closes here on the S&P, right? As you can see, all right, and we have the weekly fair value gap right here, right? Come on, man. Right here. Price could definitely come on down here, but it took that sell side liquidity here. There's no relative equal lows there. All right, it took that sell side liquidity here. And this is implying this candle, the way it closed, it didn't reach that high yet. I think it's going to reach that high on the S&P, but as far as the NASDAQ is concerned, I think there's more of a chance that we're going to go down into that 50% to see if we show respect there before we hit that all-time high. All right, it's running a little weaker than the S&P. Are you with me? Are you with me so far? Let's go to the daily, and what do we see? Let me show you this, something to bolster my argument. There's a fair value gap here on the daily that the market found its way into. That makes me bullish in my bias come Monday and Tuesday. If the bearish fair value gap holds, then we're going to see price come on down here, take out those relative equal lows here, right? This whole relative equal lows there, and quite possibly head down to that weekly fair value gap down here, which has bullish fair value gaps inside of it, all right, nested within it. So there is a case to make here before we see higher prices. We might see a pullback down to find support here, where we take a sweep of the relative equal lows, and we come into this internal range liquidity here. because we already reached the external range liquidity up top. Why not come into that the internal range liquidity and then move up higher? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so let Monday play out. Let's see what it does here on the NASDAQ. It's kind of we're looking a little more sure-footed on the S&P, but with the NASDAQ, we got to see if this fair value gap holds. If the fair value gap holds, it will invert and become support, and we could see prices head towards that new all-time high. Monday should give us some clarification. Between Monday and Tuesday, we should see some clarification. If it holds, we're going down. We're going to take out that low, and we'll probably come down to these relative equal lows. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you go and check out my other videos. I just put out one for the S&P. That was the last one I put out before this one. The pound, the euro, and the US dollar. Make sure you go check those out, will you? I'll leave some links at the bottom of this video for you to check them out, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you again for watching.